YouTube? Back with another video. Welcome to my channel. So today's topic I wanted to speak on is kind of got inspired by, there's been a lot of them lately. I don't know, maybe it's my algorithm, but there was an article that BuzzFeed posted on their Facebook sometime last week about toxic parenting, and it listed like these examples of like these text exchanges of different people that were probably posted in a Reddit thread, and there was one that spoke to me, and at first I was just like, I don't really know how to put it in words, but I understand how this kid is feeling because I'm constantly on the other side of that. But looking at the comments and how some of the people were responding to that particular one, it made me understand that I understand the parent's point of view, but being on the opposite side of that, I'm just like, nah, I still gotta side with the kid on that because I know that one way too well. So in the past, I've spoken about wanting to make videos about family and things like that, and some of the narcissism that I've grown up with and the toxic environments that I've grown up with. Nobody was ever, you know, at least in my generation, physically abused, but kind of the emotional and toxicness of kind of the environment that I grew up in is a totally different monster. So I've tried to stray away from it until I could find a way to kind of actually verbalize it, because I don't want to say anything that'll hurt someone's feelings, because I know the people in my family, especially the mother side of my family, I've seen how they interact with each other, and it's never intimate, it's never loving, it's very controlling and robotic. And that's because that's how they were brought up, and I can't really fault anyone for that. So it's not like I'm trying to call people out for the sake of calling them out, but it's because it's made me feel some sort of way. And it's also the fact that nobody in my family, on that side of the family, has decided to get help. They think that the way that they operate is normal and it's okay. Even if somebody says like, hey, this is causing me some emotional damage, it doesn't really matter. So I've tried to stray away from that because I'm not out here to try and hurt anyone's feelings, but at the same time, the way that they have conducted themselves there my entire life has really kind of affected me. So that was just a little disclaimer. So, and again, I've been on this whole kind of parenting kick anyway with me being pregnant. I'm due in the next about 4 or 5 months. So it's been really kind of sticking with me because I've been kind of frightened of having this kid, because I don't want to send them down the same toxic road that I've gone through. I don't want to continue that generational curse. This article and this text in particular that really intrigued me was this exchange from this kid and their mom, and it was something to do with, seems to me, because, you know, obviously we're just looking at a text exchange of one moment in these people's lives, so I don't know their whole background. I'm assuming that this person was an adult, and so this person was an adult getting ready to go on a trip. It seems like they were going to see their other parent or another family member in another state. So their mom kind of belittled them and said, hey, how come you didn't send me your plane itinerary? And, you know, the kid goes, oh my God, I'm sorry, you know, I forgot. You know, I've been so busy with this, that, and the other. I'll send it to you when I get a chance. And the mom goes like, well, you know that I'm taking care of grandma and such and such and such and such, and I still make time for my family. I still have time to do this. I still, you know, I'm here when you guys need me. I do this, that, and the other for you. And it's like, when I ask you to do anything, it's like pulling teeth, you know, they just really digging in the claws. And the kid goes, you know, I said I forgot. Like, it happens. I'm human. Like, and it's not only that, it's just like, you don't need to know every movement. And I looked at that and I said, oh, I felt that way because I've dealt with that my whole life. And the reason I wanted to make this video is because I actually had to deal with this just yesterday, literally just yesterday. Mind you, I'm almost 40 and I still have to deal with this, where my mother feels like I still have to consult with her anytime I make a movement, as if I'm 16 years old, getting ready to have a kid of my own. I'm almost 40. I almost qualify for AARP. Like, I don't know why I need to talk to my mommy about things like this. But, you know, just reading kind of the comments on it, people were just like, well, all he had to do was just, you know, send his mom this, that, and the other. And I look at it, like I said, I'm coming from the other side of the fence, where this person, you know, they forgot. So that's the reason why they didn't send it. Now, I'm looking at my situation. When I do things like that, I do it deliberately. And that's because, and I had to think about it, like, when did that start and why did it start? And it all had to deal with trust that was broken a long time ago. And it also had to deal with trips and dreams and things I look forward to that were completely crushed or were attempted to be crushed or diverted. And I went back and I thought about times when, now, not trying to toot my own horn or anything like that, but when I was a kid, I was a good kid. I kept to myself, always on honor roll, A's, B's, all of that. Like, I've got the Student of the Month award still sitting in my parents' house. Like, always on honor roll. I was never a bad kid. I was never a kid that snuck out. I was never a kid when I became a teenager, was off having sex, doing drugs, anything like that. As a matter of fact, when I became a teenager, I became reclusive, you know? I was emo before it happened. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I was never a kid that stepped out of line. And so because of that, I was always awarded things. And I started to think back to like 8th grade. I was awarded, well, it wasn't awarded, it was just something that was offered, but I had the opportunity to go on a class trip to go to Washington, D.C. And my mom tried everything in her power to try to talk me out of going. Now, I don't know, the discussion that we had yesterday, I told her that she has these fears of something always bad happening, and that's her fear and not mine. And I can't keep carrying her fears of something bad always happening. And she didn't, it completely went over her head. But I've been dealing with that since I was a kid. But I also know that there's an element of control in there. I don't want you to do it, whether it be, I hate to always call people jealous because I don't know, whether it be jealousy because you didn't get such opportunities, or because you can't go along with me, or whatever it is, but she always kept me or tried to keep me from doing these things. So when it came to that trip, she tried everything under the book. You have no business going. That's always her first go-to. I have no business going. As if, again, 8th grade, as if, how old are you in 8th grade? Like 12, 13? As if I was going 12 or 13 to Washington, D.C. by myself. Going with my classmates, teachers, chaperones. Then, okay, I can't get you with that one. Okay, we don't have the money to. And I was always thankful for my father because he was always just go. You know, he was always my buffer. And I always felt bad for, because I've had friends where both of their parents were like that. And I was always thankful for my father because he was always my buffer. When she would try to divert things and keep me from doing things and keep putting up this roadblock with me, he would be like, just, you earned it, do it. You know, you're not going to get this opportunity again. Go do it. Thanks, Dad. You know, then I think to, You go high school, college, and the college I was going to at the time, community college, I was on the dean's list, which I went from there to the nationals dean's list. And then this program reached out to me called the International Scholar Laureate Program. And I don't know if it's still going on. Some of you may have heard of it. But they give you the opportunity to go someplace outside of the country to do these certain programs. For instance, I got 2 of them actually. One of them was nursing, and that was in South Africa. I wasn't in any nursing classes, so I don't know why I was sent that one. The other one I was sent was for journalism, which even though my school at that time, they did not offer journalism, that is what I was going for. I was just going under communication since there was nothing else. But that was in Australia. I'm like, oh my God. And I've always wanted, Australia was always number 1 on my list of places I've ever wanted to go. So I was just like, I definitely have to make this happen. And, and then with this program, there were other ones too. Like if you were offered like the music program, I think that was in Japan. But yeah, it was 80 kids from 80 different colleges all over the country who were offered, 80 different kids per program. And I was just like, I have to do this. I have to do this. By any means necessary. If I have to take out for student loans, whatever, I have to do this. This is definitely a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I'm awarded this because I've done so good in my academics. So I talked to my dad about it. I was just like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this financially. It was like $6,000. It might not have been that much. That might be how much I took out. But, I was just like, he was like, well, see what you can do. I'm behind you, whatever. So then here she comes. Again, the first thing, you don't need to be going. No, this was the kicker, because you have to add a little guilt into it. You got to sprinkle that on a little bit. So I got everything together. I got my spot in. I'm ready to go. Despite her efforts of trying to keep me from going. Might have been a week before, maybe 2 weeks before. I want to say it was a week before. My dad had to be rushed to the hospital. And I think that was the first time he ever had to go to the hospital, if I'm not mistaken. And if it was the first time, he actually almost died. But he got better before I had to go. And instead of, us trying to pull together, what are we going to do for him? What is a diagnosis? Where do we move from here? Her first concern was, see, that's why you don't need to go to Australia. Because you never know what's going to happen. Because there's always something bad that is about to happen around the corner. Always. Always, always, always. And I really thought about it. Even though I knew that all this money that I put into it, I was not going to get that money back. And I think I did end up taking out loans for that. So not only am I not going to get this money back, but I have to pay back for something that I didn't even get to, participate in. But I really thought about it. And my dad got better, and he was just like, no, I'm going to be there at the airport to send you off. You go. And he was there. Took me to the airport, was on my way, and had the best time of my life. That was in 2007. I'm still friends with a lot of those people today that I met on that trip. But I realized that the reason that I deliberately withhold information is because every time I was about to do something amazing, or anytime I was about to do something that involved self-care, or me just taking a break, or me taking time for myself, or putting myself first, or doing something fun, it was always an attempt to crush it. So why am I going to tell you that I'm about to do something that is going to make me happy if you always attempt to crush it? And I know, if you just kind of come into the story of me talking about one incident, people look at me like maybe I'm an ungrateful daughter. And some people still might, even if you know the whole story. But it's like, I've been dealing with that for almost 40 years. Like, for instance, if I were to tell people when I moved to Chicago, that was one of the reasons that she didn't want me to go to Australia too, is before I enrolled in that program, I was also attempting to try and look for other colleges to go to around the country. I should also say she also crushed my dreams of going to colleges outside of the country, or outside of the state as well. When I was in high school, there's 2 colleges that I really wanted to go to. One was Hofstra University in New York. I carried their application and like their book with me for months. I really wanted to go to that school. The other one that I was really looking at was Colorado State. I really wanted to go to Colorado State, and that got crushed. I really wanted to go to either one of those schools. I really, really, really did. And it was probably a good chance. Hofstra, I want to say that it was kind of a hard one to probably get into and probably expensive. Colorado State, I probably could have gotten into that, and that was crushed. But anyway, before I was getting ready to go to Australia, I was looking for other colleges to go to around the country. And I've always said, since my younger cousin and I, we've had an infatuation with California for forever. And I told her, I was like, when I graduate, I'm gonna move out there. And then, cause she's younger than me, I'm like, when you graduate, you just come move out there too. I had got accepted to, I don't even remember what the name of the school was, honestly, but I got accepted to a school outside of LA. And what I was going to do was, the time that I was in Australia, I think was like a week and a half. And I was going to take another couple of days afterwards when I got back. Because when we went to Australia, we flew out of LAX. So I said, when we come back, I'm going to stay in LA for a couple more days and apartment hunt. And then what I'll do is find an apartment, come back home, and then move back out there. I ended up not finding a place because I don't know how y'all afford to live in California. And I'm pretty sure the school that I was trying to go to, it was in the hood, and that shit was still high. So I didn't accomplish that. And then part of me felt defeated after dealing with my mother and I shouldn't go and this, that, and the other, and crushing that, and then jet lag. So I honestly didn't put in the full effort of trying to find a place. When the time came, and by the time I had come back from that working, I couldn't afford to go to the school I was going to, so dropped out. By the time, like maybe a year or so later, I enrolled back. I'm going back to school. And I can't remember what class it was, but there was a professor there who knew that I was passionate about going into journalism and writing. And she was just like, she gave me this list of schools. She said, you need to look into these schools. So I looked through them. It's like, okay, George Washington University. I do like DC, but I don't really want to go into political journalism. I'm more so, my whole dream was to go into Rolling Stone. That's a dead medium right now anyway. But that was my dream job, was to work for Rolling Stone. So I wanted to go into entertainment journalism. And I looked at Columbia College in Chicago. I was like, this school looks really dope. I applied and I got in. And it came down to, how do I handle this? So I told my dad, because that's easy. That's easy. He's supported me every step of the way and everything I wanted to do. All right, good. He's like, I know you can do this. We'll miss you, but I know you can do this. He's like, we don't really have family in Chicago. He was like, there was distant family members that lived way back when. He's like, they've probably passed by now, but he was just like, I know you can do it. And I was like, cool. Did not tell my mother, because I felt like California was taken from me. And that was such a blow, because me and my cousin had been planning that for years. We were going to move into LA together. And I was like, I can't have her take Chicago from me. I can't have her take that from me. And the school looked so amazing. But I said to myself, I can't let her take Chicago from me. So I didn't tell her. And she would not have known if I didn't have an uncle who told her. My father told his brother, who told my mother, and that's how she found out I was going to Chicago. Tried to take it from me then, but the plan was already in motion, so there was no way she could. But yeah, that's why I look at that article and I see it from the kid's point of view. He's, he forgot what he was doing, and I do it deliberately because I got tired of things that brought me joy being taken away from me. And still, here we are 40 years later, and she's still trying to do it. And it comes to a point where there's enough is enough. I'm getting ready to have my own child, and then she throws in idle threats of, well, you'll see how it is one day. No, I won't, because I will allow my kid that freedom to be themselves, to explore whatever it is they want to explore. You want to go somewhere outside of the country? We'll make it happen, as long as you are safe or whatever, because I feel like if I can't trust you to be careful and to take care of yourself and to act like you have some sense, I'm not saying some of that isn't on the kid's end, but it's also me questioning my parenting if I'm always questioning you. Then it makes it seem like I didn't do my job as a parent. All I can do is equip you with the tools, and you can do with those tools what you will. But if I feel like every time you do something that you're going to fuck up or that something bad is going to happen, then that's my fear, not the kids. And that's what I try to tell her. That's your fear, not mine. So why you always assume something bad is about to happen around the corner because of your phobias of everything, because you're a homebody and you don't travel, you don't go out and do things, not even something as simple as going out to shop by yourself. Like, that is fearful for her. But just the simple fact that I'm able to do things alone, I'm able to travel, I'm able to get in a car and drive to another city, I'm able to get in a plane and go to another state, I'm able to do these things. And I think it's fear, and I also think it's jealousy, because you also want to do these things as well, but your fear holds you back. And I can't be responsible for that. That's up to you to either break out of it or live with it. But to try and pass on to somebody else, that's not the way to go. But I don't want to make this too long, because like I said, I don't kind of want to make these videos and make anyone feel bad about themselves or feel like I'm calling someone out or trying to start shit or anything like that. It's just that when it comes to some of the narcissism and the toxicness and the things like that I've grown up with, at some point it has to stop. And even though it might continue to happen to me, I at least feel confident that that's not something that I will pass on. I refuse to pass that on, because I don't like how it feels. It feels terrible. It feels actually horrible. Because I know my mom, she does these things too, and tries to make it seem like we don't have this relationship, which we don't. We really don't. We don't have a close relationship at all. And I know a huge part of her does that, but at the same time, if you try to block me at every turn, we're never going to have this close relationship. And I feel sorry for her because of that, because that's what she wants. But at the same time, she's standing in her own way of getting that. And that's just how life is going to be. But I'm not going to pass that life on to my kids. I want my kids to be able to talk to me. I want my kids to be able to experience things. I want to be able to experience things with my kids. I have a phobia of spiders. If my kid wants to go out in the yard and pick up a big ass tarantula, have at it. Just don't bring it to me, you know. But I'm not gonna spread my fears onto that kid. I cannot, you know. That kid has to live their own life. They have to create their own fears. They have to create their own, you know, things to conquer. They can't conquer their fears and mine. That's too much to ask for. But that's all for today. So, yep, guys, just like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys later.